That's on your name here, so.
No problem.
Sorry.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
will be talking about community
No, no,
accomplishments,
break
key
for
global
this session.
learnings, and the path ahead. So before we get into that, this has been SiteLife's program pillars for the past several years. No change so far, and urban development has been and remains a very important pillar over there. Getting into that, what exactly is a community? The reason I bring this up is because right here we are a community. We are an iBanking community, and we have something in common because we want the betterment of iBanking. And to feel that we are in a community, of course, there's a membership, there's a reinforcement, and there's a shared connection. That passionate debate that we've had right now, it really is evident that this is a community which is strong. So what exactly were the accomplishments? Come COVID-19, we saw iBanking basically was a pretty big picture, was a lock and key. But we also saw rapid recovery. If you look at the graph over there, you saw this iBanking recovered better than the economy. So if you look at this Nike swoosh in 2020 and that V-shaped recovery that you see in 2021 after the waves, this is much better than when, in a way, many other industries recovered. We were able to retain key talent, irrespective of the fact that some people were lost, but most of the talent in iBanking, fortunately, still is in iBanking. Uh, we also saw AIOS and EBI come together very quickly to get the guidelines for the iBanks. Who would have thought that NPCB, AIOS, and EBI could do that in a matter of months? So that was there, and that was something which was, literally unheard of. We also saw NPCB and AIOS's good use of time. We saw adoption of 2020 standards of iBanking, which is something that was pending for 7 years. Then we also saw something which we never thought possible in a matter of months. There was rapid policy advancement. So given that the cost of iBanking had gone up thanks to PPE kits and everything, we also saw an increase in processing fee thanks to EBI. Within months, the request was made in May, and the actual, that came out in August, which was really as fast as it could be. And we also saw NPCB giving us the voluntary collection permission after repeated going back, but still 6 months is very quick. We also used this time, this is specific to SiteLife, to actually develop a lot of the curricula that we were working on since years. So something that's not in this presentation is we also developed curricula for tissue evaluation, tissue processing, as well as tissue recovery. So those curricula are something we're going to release this year, and it will be released to virtual sessions, but they will be made available to all EBI members. And a lot of the surgeon training curriculum as well, which some have already been used and some are going to be used within this year. So what exactly did we learn? We learned something which we initially weren't sure of, that the community is resilient. Even in this time, in a once in 100 shock to the community, we saw that no iBanks failed. At least SiteLife partners, all of them survived. We had a list repository in which we had 7 iBanks who were at the risk of complete failure. And really happy to say and proud to say that none of them did. All the iBanks are still there, still working, maybe not at the same volumes, but they're there. We also saw that associations and government relationships, if they work together at the right time, we can see, almost miracles happen. Supporting policy, it still remains a critical enabler. Dr. Namrata has already talked about that. That's been a discussion we've been having for a while now. Tissue sharing remains important. It was really amazing to see a lot of iBanks sharing tissue in the time of need during the lockdown and post that. Even glycerin tissue was sent across the country where it was needed the most. And we also see that something again a lot of people were skeptical of, including myself, was can we use a virtual mode to drive any kind of engagement? But I was proven wrong. There are limitations, but there is a lot that can be done virtually. We even successfully did quality audits. It's more work, it takes effort, but an audit, especially a quality audit being done virtually, was something we hadn't thought of. Even EBAA or any other agency is not doing that, but we've been able to do that successfully, and the feedback from all iBanks has been very positive. iBanks remain financially fragile, even with the increased processing fee, and that is something we continuously have to work on. Some ideas coming in the next slide. And we really need to find ways to reconnect. This is a great start. We would love to see the EBI session also happening in September, hopefully. We really look forward to that. But we could look at the mode in which instead we don't wait for once in a year or once in 2 years, but have a community connect more often. And this entire comfort with the virtual mode makes it possible. Finally, what's the path ahead? So we have, of course, a lot of teams have changed. A lot of the work has changed to some extent, so we really need to rebuild team. There are banks where the teams have been lost permanently and they have to rebuild. They have to reskill. The newer skills, and especially the skills in which we were dependent on the experienced people, they have to be retaught, and that is where something we are doing with EBI. The virtual sessions and eventually in-person sessions are important. We also want to see the mature banks, the banks like LV Prasad, Shroff, who've been around for so long, share support with other banks. They can act as mentors. In fact, this might become the cornerstone of SiteLife strategy as well in the future. So they can act as mentors to other banks. So as the strategy chain that so many banks are still not even started back. So organizations like LV Prasad, Arvind, Shroff, and so on can help do that. And SiteLife is, of course, here to help that. Then we have the 2020 iBanking standards, but there's no way to implement it because there's no incentive tied to it. And one of the ways in which we can actually have such an incentive would be to realign tissue processing fee from collections to utilization. Many, many years ago, NPCB came up with the idea of providing 1,000 rupees for collections, but we think the time is ripe to change that incentive from collections to utilizations. This is a debate we want to have. There is already a proposal in the works with EBI and Vision 2020, but that is a debate that we will continue to have to see if the time is right for that. Finally, the tissue processing fee and then policy accelerators. A lot has been said about the policy accelerators, but something we think if you look at an effort versus impact matrix, something that is easy to do would be mandatory debt notification. There is already mountains of evidence and it's quite executable. And at the same time, access to MLC cases. It's a tricky one, but this is something, if this community works together, especially through these discussions that we can have through the Google form, we can take these up with the government because these are out of the others required requests and so on, which can be controversial. These are easy, there's no controversy, so these can be taken up quite easily. And with that, I'll take you.
Thank you
very much.